Today we will take a look at Google Gemma. So Google has entered into a new stage where they started publishing their models, their open weight models. It's not open source, rather open weight models, whereas anybody can download the model and repurpose it for their own use. And we will take a look at how we can use the Google Gemma model. So this is the blog post that they have published, and as we know and we will discuss later that currently Meta Llama, the Facebook's open source models, were the first ones which came as the open source models that can be fine-tuned and available on Hugging Face. And then Mistral and many other companies actually took the Llama model and then fine-tuned it and came with models which shows better performance. And here in this blog, Google has published that the Gemma slightly outperformed or quite outperformed the Llama 2 model, Llama 2 7 billion model and 13 billion parameter model, as we can see here in the MMLU, and the general capability, reasoning capability, math capability, and code capability, all these different benchmarks that we have: MMLU, BPH, Hellasworks, zero shot, common sense reasoning for everyday task. Almost on every task it seems, and it's showing that Gemma model is performing better than the Llama 2 model. And let's go to the Hugging Face, and on the Hugging Face homepage we see that Gemma model is trending now. And then there's a blog post on Gemma model also, and it's essentially showing similar table here where it shows that the Gemma model's leaderboard score. And as you can see, the Llama 2 70 billion chat model, the leaderboard average score I believe is 67.87, whereas Gemma 7 billion model, the pre-training size is 6 trillion tokens, and it's performing 63.75, the leaderboard score. And previously Mistral 7 billion instruct tune version 0.1 was 60.97, and I think Phi 2 2.7 billion was by Microsoft, which was at with 61.33 leaderboard score. And then Gemma 2 billion parameter is 46.51. So Llama 2 7 billion is still on average better than Gemma 2 billion, but Gemma 7 billion is definitely performing much higher than the existing open source model. And there's an open leaderboard, LLM leaderboard, that Hugging Face has, and you can filter it by the model size. What I have done is I am looking into the models below 7 up to 7 billion parameters, and I'm only choosing the pre-trained models. And here you can see similar table again where it shows the Google Gemma 7 billion is at number 3, which is above the Microsoft Phi 2, and also the Microsoft Phi 1.5, and of course Mistral 7 billion version 0.1. So I think this is ranked by the average score here. Let me take a quick look here. 63.75, and it's showing here 63.75. That's the average score. Now if we do it by MMLU descending, yes, the Gemma is 82 64.56, just above the Mistral 7 billion. And truthful QA 79.01 Vino Grande, and GSM 8K. So that is very interesting that Google has now released an open weight model. They're calling it open model, even though they are not releasing the source. And now people can use this model from the Hugging Face, and they can fine tune it. And they also actually provide here, if you go to their main blog, and they mention at the bottom, if you go to the getting started section, and then if you go to this link, then from here you can then jump to either Kaggle or Google Colab. I have Google Colab membership, so therefore I went to Google Colab. And when you are at the Google Colab, you can change the runtime type and choose a GPU. I chose a 800 GPU here. And then you have to provide your Kaggle username and Kaggle key. And then you install the Keras NLP. Keras is a popular Python library for NLP. And then you load the libraries, and then you set the backend to be the TensorFlow, PyTorch, or JAX. JAX is the new framework developed by Google. And then finally you can load or download using this command. If you run this, then as you can see, it is downloading the model weight, tokenizer, and the vocabulary. And the model weight is 4.67 gigabyte, and it takes almost 5 minutes to download. And then in the summary, then you can see that the Gemma tokenizer has 256,000 vocabulary, and the total number of parameter is 2.5. I think this one is for the 2 billion. If you want to do it for 7 billion, you will have to put 7 billion here. And then after the model is loaded, it's ready for inference, and then you can generate, you can ask question. For example, for this specific question, it is answering what is the meaning of life. The question is one of the most important questions in the world. It's the question that has been asked by philosophers, theologians, and scientists for centuries, and it's the question that has been asked by people who are looking for answers to their own lives. Okay, so this is how you can play with it if you are a developer and you want to use Gemma for your own application. Now Hugging Face also, before we go to the Hugging Face, these models, as you see, are located on Kaggle. You can also go to the Kaggle page, and I think before you download, you need to accept some request or sign something by clicking a button here, and then you will be able to download it. Right now, as you can see, the 2 billion and 7 billion model is you can download them. Okay, and we can see the notebook here also. Now I wanted to do a small comparison, a short comparison between how Gemma performs against Mistral 7 billion or even Llama 270 billion, the big one, even though we can see the benchmarking result. But let's take a quick look how we can quickly compare these models. For that, what I did is that I went to the Perplexity, and we know that for certain questions, these large language models are not very good. For example, I asked what are some limitations on Llama 2 models in understanding natural language, And as you can see, the llama models have of course it does not have knowledge after the knowledge cutoff point. If the model has been trained on dataset up until 2023, so it won't be able to answer questions after 2023. And sometimes it may have limited domain knowledge, and it may have restricted language support because majority of the training data set may be in English. So if you ask questions from low resource language like my own language Bengali, it may not be able to answer very well. And so there's some interesting questions. For example, some questions that Llama 2 model fails to answer. For example, we can see some trick question here. Let's ask these questions and see how this model performs. For that, what we can do, if you just want to play with, let's open a new tab here, and we go to Hugging Face. Provides Hugging Chat, so you can go to the Hugging Chat and you can log in. I'm logging in. Actually, let's log in with Hugging Chat. Hugging Chat. Okay, I'm already logged in here. And now on the left hand side you can see the models here, and they are currently providing the 7 models. So as you can see, Google's Gemma is here. I can choose Google Gemma 7B, and it's already active here. Let's open another tab. I duplicate this tab, and then I choose, in this tab I choose Mixtral 8x7 billion Mixtral, and then I activate this one. As you can see, this one, the Mixtral 8x7 billion, is the activated model. Let's duplicate again and go and choose, let's say, the 70 billion model. Or we can choose the Mistral 7 billion model also. The Mistral 7 billion, activate this model, and maybe we make another tab and we can even choose the 70 billion one. That must be the best out of all the 7 of all these models with the small parameters. To be honest, that is not true. Sometimes on certain questions, the 7 billion models I have seen perform better than even the 70 billion model. So 70 billion model here I activated. Okay, so let's just check here. So this one, we have the Google Gemma model, the first one. Second one, we have the Mixtral 8x7 billion model. And then third one, we have the Mistral 7 billion instruct model, and the fourth one is the largest model, the 70 billion model. Now let's ask some questions, and I wanted to show you, for example, some questions can be, LLMs are not very good. For example, in this domain, you can ask the ChatGPT also. For example, list of some questions that Llama 2 model fails to answer, the real-time information, highly technical or niche expertise, predicting the future, sensitive or ethical issues, misinformation, disinformation, very detailed obscure historical facts, specific personal public information. So I asked a specific questions. For example, this is an interesting one. How many times can you subtract 5 from 25? So the correct answer is, so this question is so ChatGPT gives the right answer. This question is a classic example of a trick question designed to challenge how one interprets and processes information. The intuitive and straightforward answer might seem to be 5 times. It's like you subtract 5 one first, and then again until it becomes 0. But the thing is, this is a trick question, because when you subtract the first time 5 from 25, after subtraction you have 20, so there is no longer 25 to subtract from. So the right answer, the trick in the question lies in the wording and the nature of the operation. The correct answer to how many times can you subtract 5 from 25 is actually once. So let's see whether this LLMs answer properly. So let's first ask, let's first ask the 70 billion one. Okay, we asked you can subtract 5 from 20. Actually, even the 70 billion is answering 5. As you can see, it's subtracting 5, again subtracting 5, 15, 10, 5, 0. Maybe let's ask what is the reasoning behind. So the reasoning behind the fact that you can subtract 5 from 25 5 times is based on the basic property of arithmetic. Okay, it's basically going like that. And then we ask the Mistral one. So let's see, you can subtract 5, it's answering similarly. So it is not understanding the trick in the question. So this is also, so this one is Mistral 8x, and it's also answering essentially the same answer, that it's subtracting until it reaches 0, forgetting that after the first subtraction you no longer have 25. And finally the Google Gemma, if we ask the same question, oh, look at that, Gemma actually answered correctly only once. After that 25 minus 5 equals to 20. So Gemma is actually answered the correctly. So can you tell me the reason? That's impressive. After you subtract 5 from 25, the remaining number is 20, which cannot be subtracted by 5 further, because yes. Okay, so let's ask some other questions. For example, let's go to Perplexity. For example, this question: if you have a bowl with 6 apples and you take away 4, how many do you have? It is also a trick question, because think about this, that in the bowl there's 6 apples, and we are taking away 4. How many do you have? The thing is you are the same person, so you had 6 apples before in the bowl, but you are taking away 4, but it's not anybody else who is taking away the apples. So essentially you still have 6 apples, even though you just remove them from the bowl. So LLM will essentially probably make the mistake, because it will just subtract 4 from 6 and it will come up with the answer 2. Let's try this question. So we go to, let's first ask the 70 billion parameter model. So yeah, it's making the mistake, 6 minus 4, 2. And then we ask the Mistral model. You will have 2 apples remaining in the bowl. Okay, so it's answering the same. The other Mistral model, your question seems to contain a minor. I assume you mean how many apples are left in the bowl instead of how many do you have. Okay, so at least the Mistral 8x is trying to clarify whether are we asking how many we have left in the bowl versus how many do you have, because if it's left on the bowl, the correct answer will be 2, but if it is like how many do you have, you still have the same amount. So let me ask it again. You have to okay, this time it actually did not ask for clarification. Actually, let me see which. So this is 70 billion. No, I wanted it to be chosen at active because I refreshed, it got reset. So okay, it is the 7 billion. Okay, let's ask Gemma the question. The Gemma is also saying 2, so they are confused. And this one is the Mistral 7 billion. Okay, let's ask a few more questions possibly. So I also went to the Gemini. I will make another video about Google's Gemini advanced model, which is a 10 trillion context window model. I think a big context window, meaning like you can give it a long context or big PDF files. So if we ask a question like will the price of Bitcoin reach 50,000 by the end of the year? That is a question about future. Most LLM will refuse to answer. For example, if you ask what's the best movie of all time, so okay, let's ask Gemma what's the best movie of all time. So I think, okay, it's taking some time. Maybe the system is pretty loaded right now. Stop generating. Okay, let me close these tabs and reopen. It's possible that because I am opening multiple tabs, it's being slow. Chat.co. Okay, I went to the wrong place. Hugging chat. We select our model, Google Gemma, and then activate the model and ask the question. So what was the question? What's the best movie of all time? There isn't a single best movie of all time. That is the correct answer. Because it's subjective, but it's then providing some of the good movies or popular movies. And okay, then we can ask some more question. Okay, for example, this is a difficult math problem. A bat and ball cost $1.10 in total. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How does the ball cost? The correct answer is actually 5 cents, because if you think if you take the bat, the cost of the bat is as B1 and ball is B2, so B1 plus B2 is $1.10, and then the difference of them is also is $1. So basically B1 minus B2 or the B1 minus B2 is $1, and then it becomes you will have to solve this two equation, and ultimately you come as 5 cents as the ball's cost, and then $1.5 is the bat's cost. And as you can see, $1.05 is 5 cents, $1 more than the cost of the ball. But I think LLM makes the mistake. Sometimes it answers with just by subtracting, and then 1.10 minus $1, which gives $1 answer. Let's see what Google Gemma does. Oh, actually Google Gemma is making mistake on this question. Okay, but if we ask the Mistral 7 billion, let's say we take the Mistral 7 billion, activate the model, and we create a new chat and we ask question. Okay, you see it actually is clarifying it. It's creating those two equation here, and ultimately it's coming up with the 5 cents. So Mistral basically wins on this specific question. So I'll possibly make more comparison videos. So in this video I was trying to introduce the new Google Gemma open weight model, and how Google has started releasing open model for the first time, and it is already on the almost at the top of the leaderboard. And it is amazing that all these big companies, Google, Microsoft, and also Meta, they are all releasing open models so that people can use them and fine tune them for their own purpose. So it is a really interesting time for both for amazing AI models and different use cases of those models. And I'll keep making more videos on different topics of AI. Stay tuned.